Okay, so part two, the platform I'm using to record this only allows for 15 minutes at a time. So anyway, so basically what I was getting at is that my editors are only looking at certain types of stories each week that they're assigned to. So it minimizes them having to edit a bunch of stuff at one time, fight over who's going to edit what, and it's consistent. So I know if I have a question about an academic story or a club story or whatever, I know to go to Meredith. Fine arts or whatever, I know to go to Ivory. So obviously this changes as staff members change, but whoever my editors are each year, that's the responsibility they have. Now, with grading, all of this and the way that I handle that is 30% of the grade. 30% of the grade is based on whether the students are turning in content on time. So editors are graded by whether they get their content edited in time and in the submission folder to the layout person. Layout editors are graded on whether they got their pages designed on time. So basically, within reason, that category, that 30% of their grade is all or nothing. If you don't turn it in on time, it's a 0. Obviously, there's exceptions. There's things that happen that we take that on a case by case basis, but that part of their grade, it's either a 0 or it's a 100. You either turned the content in on time or you didn't. You either edited it on time or you didn't. Layout editors, I have to be super flexible because they're at the mercy of kids turning in content. So since they have such a big job, I'm pretty flexible with the layout editors. I do have to penalize them sometimes for getting behind, but I'm a little more flexible with them just because they cannot do their jobs without the content. So, but then the other portion of the grade is the quality of the content. So 70% of the grade is the story that they turn in. So basically that's where, we're deducting points for, misspellings or, leaving things out, terrible headlines, whatever it is. So the editors, because they are so good at what they do, they have been on the staff 2 to 3 years. They're the ones that, they'll go in and as they're looking at the content submission form, they see errors or whatever, they'll go to the staff member, ask them to make the correction. They'll note at the top, they'll generally type, up here somewhere, what up here, they'll type in, what they took off points for. And I generally do 5 points for every error. Sometimes if it's something huge that really should be known better, it might be 10 points. We just discuss it as we go, but generally everything's about a 5-point deduction. So, I kind of leave it up to them to make those decisions and whether they want to take points off or not. Once the content then is fixed and gets to my layout editor and gets put in the book, once I look at it, if I find errors at that point, or if I find things that weren't done well or whatever, then I dock the editors. So that's how they get graded. If they miss things, if the headline was really horrible and they should have had the person correct it, or if they should have caught some kid's name was used wrong or whatever, then at that point, once it's made it into my layout editors folder, at that point, if there's still big errors, it's the editors. It's on them. So that's how I do it. They get all or nothing for turning it in on time because that is so important, obviously. And then they get an actual grade for the actual quality and of the content of the story. So if they get a 0 because it's turned in late, that's 30% of their grade, but they can redeem themselves by getting a content grade. It may have been turned in late, but it might be an amazing story. So they might get a 0 for the deadline, but 100 for the content, and it equals out. So once I do that a couple times and they get a 0 and see their grade plummet in your book, it pretty much nips it in the bud for the most part. So, I don't want kids to not want to be on the staff because they think it's too hard. I do want this class to help their GPA. It's an academic elective. It goes in their Hope GPA. So, you don't want to kill kids, but you got to hold them accountable. So this is the way I do it that works pretty well. And I'm pretty flexible. I get suckered sometimes and, second chances and all that. But when it starts to be a problem week after week, then those zeros do go in. So so that's how I handle it. If anybody has any specific questions for me and how I do any of this stuff, I'd be happy to talk to you over Zoom or email or whatever. But there are, you know, cons to doing it this way, because you do have to be super organized, especially if you're doing everything through like a Google Drive or something. It does take a lot of organization, and it does take sticking to your process. And it does take you letting go of a lot of control. But in the end, it can take a lot of work off of your plate as well. So, so that's how I handle it. So good luck with your new venture into being a yearbook advisor. And if I can be of any help at all, please reach out.